Oh, I forgot to share my music with us, but I cannot believe we're already on the last week. Um, so today it's our last yin practice, and I want to kind of weave in some grounding for the week ahead, and then just kind of we'll dive a little bit deeper on Tuesday for just kind of like preparing ourselves for the winter season as well. But let's get started grounded. I'm actually gonna go sit on my bolster. So feel free to take a seat. And then as we start to just come into the practice, we'll just kind of arrive and then just taking a just inventory of the body. So kind of tuning back into those koshas. And then starting with the Anandamaya kosha, with the body. Is there any wiggles or movement that needs to happen to the physical body? And coming into your Pranamaya kosha, tuning into the energetic body. And just noticing where the energy is, if it's scattered, if it's centered, how you're arriving. Tuning into the Manamaya kosha, the mind, noticing where the mind is at. Maybe it's the same as the energy and body, or maybe it's a little different. And tuning into the Vijnanamaya kosha, the wisdom body. Just kind of tuning in, how has the wisdom body been the last few days? And then Anamaya kosha, tuning into that bliss body. And maybe you don't quite reach that point today or haven't this week. And that's okay, but just kind of tuning in to maybe that sattvic energy, that clean, crisp harmony. And then as you're grounding here, we're just going to recite a mantra. Om Shanti, 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 which means peace, peace, peace. So maybe you recite that silently to yourself for the next minute. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You could also listen to that mantra if you go into Spotify. But just finding that inner harmony. As you continue to maybe recite that mantra, maybe you start to lengthen the inhale and exhale. Finding that even breath, that samavriti. Take a few more grounding breaths here. And our theme tonight is Santosha, or satisfied within. And so as you maybe ponder that, there's always this question, I know for myself at least, I will be happy when. And that used to be a heavy driver of my life. I'm going to be happy when XYZ happens. If I just make it to this day, then it's going to get better. But maybe with age comes wisdom, or you just realize that a lot of that magic is within the day to day. And finding that contentment within versus chasing can really help you drop in, and it's really the magic of yoga. And throughout the practice tonight, maybe just tapping into Santosha. And what is your relationship with that ever evolving? I'm going to be happy when question. And then just releasing all that for now, tapping into your seasonal word, reciting that 3 times silently to yourself. And then we're going to slowly prepare for our first posture, which is pontoon, which is where we lie on our back. You can take a block or a bolster. Grab my timer. And you're going to place it underneath that low back. You can also have your blanket or a sandbag handy for a little extra grounding. But as you place that prop underneath, you'll lengthen one or both legs out long. And we're going to be here for about 3 minutes. And so I'll let us know when we're halfway when to switch legs if you have one leg out. And then that blanket or sandbag can go on the pelvis. The arms might come overhead. Maybe your cat jumps on you. And then as you're resting here, can you soften and release? If you feel extra pressure in the head, can you lengthen through the neck? And then as you arrive in this first posture, just pondering that contentment. And can you find contentment with this present moment? Starting to lengthen out through the breath. If you had one leg out, go ahead and switch. I'm going to lengthen this pose out to 4 minutes, as I totally was in my own practice, not watching the time. And continuing to relax, release, melt around the prop, feeling the support beneath you. We'll take another 3 or 4 more deep breaths here. And bending back into the knees, placing the feet on the earth if you have any sandbags or props, removing those. And then lifting the hips up high to the sky to remove that prop. And then maybe you find stillness. Maybe you want to windshield wiper the knees. But just tuning in to what the body is craving. And then we'll find ourselves maybe rolling to a side just to kind of roll up to remove or move some props around. So for this one, we're going to be taking a butterfly, but kind of a fish butterfly. Personally, I'm really needing a blanket under my tailbone in the colder weather as I lay on my mat. So for this, you're going to take that bolster and you're going to take the bolster across the mat and you're going to be laying over the top of it. And so you could have that blanket right next to that bolster if you want that support. If you have your blocks, they can be handy because we're going to be taking butterfly with the legs. And then you're going to lie over the top. The head can rest on support if you need a little extra support, a blanket, or maybe just right on the earth. And you want those shoulder blades up and over that bolster. And so as you're coming there, maybe they come into a diamond shape, maybe they rest on the body. And you could have that blanket or sandbag or cat for a little extra grounding. And connecting into that Samavritti breath. And tuning in with that Santosha theme. I was reading in one of the passages. It talked about coming to your practice. We come to meditation hoping it will help us feel better. We come to yoga hoping it will help us feel better. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. But just looking at where you can find that contentment. Sometimes it's not a practice, but more of an internal awareness or internal change of the landscape. And that can take a lot of reps to get there. The yoga can be kind of that magnifying glass, checking in with yourself, tuning in, how are you feeling? We got about 1 more minute here. Is there any area you could soften just a little more? Now from here, we're going to be using this bolster kind of right where it is. So we don't really need to transition super far. You maybe take a block and take it by your head. But we're going to come to lie on that left side. That rib cage is going to stay along that bolster. And that blanket, or I have my weighted blanket here. And then that block could come underneath the head. And then you're going to take the top arm and lengthen it long. Legs can stay bent. You could straighten through that top leg so you can kind of feel that side body opening from right fingertip to right toe. And so this one is a gentle opener. If this does not feel good in that shoulder at any point, you can always take that right arm back to the hip and rest just here in a side lying position, opening through that rib cage. And you don't have to use that block under the head if you'd rather have the head right on the earth. And then breathing into that right rib cage. Inhale, feeling that rib cage expand out like an accordion up towards the sky. Exhale, feeling it soften. And then slowly, maybe rolling onto the back for just a brief pause. And then rolling over to that right side. And adjusting here, taking that left arm up and overhead. Legs can be bent, top leg can reach long. Finding those deep breaths. This time focusing on that inhale to the rib cage on that left side. And then feeling it soften. And as you're resting here, maybe you want to set an intention for your week ahead. Since we have Thanksgiving coming up, maybe there's a word that is coming to you that you want to embody throughout the week. Or just something that you might say to yourself if you feel like you're coming out of body. You want to tap inwards. And taking 3 or 4 more deep breaths here. And this time you might gently rise up and then just turning on your mat, taking that bolster maybe out in front of you, maybe you don't want a bolster, but just tucking that energy inwards, finding a child's pose. And so as you rest into that child's pose, you can rest a cheek down, you can rest your forehead down, whatever feels best. Once more, softening here. Continuing to relax, finding that contentment within. And maybe it's just that contentment within this pose right now. We are halfway if you want to switch which cheek is on your prop if you have one side down. Last few breaths here. Then you might rise up, taking a seat back in that meditative shape. Flipping those palms down, softening through the eyes. And we'll end where we began. And so as you're resting here, tuning back in through the different layers, through the different koshas, and taking yourself through each of those layers from what you remember. Knowing that exactly what you recall is what you're meant to hear. And noticing if any layer is in need of attention. And tuning into the body if you have any answers of how you could honor that kosha. And coming back to that intention, that seasonal intention, reciting that to yourself 3 times. And then just an open mouth exhale, releasing the practice. We'll close by taking those palms together up above our heads. Bringing them to the third eye. Trusting your intuition. Bringing your hands to your lips. Speaking your truth. Bringing your hands to heart center. Knowing yourself. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Bowing in so much gratitude. Thank you all.